Hi there. In 2010, I wrote a book, Conversation with the Heart, and I wrote it for my high-paying clients, knowing that one day I was going to get to talk about it with other people in the world. And finally, that time has come. So here's my book. Even like my hair's changed. But I wanted to tell you about it because I think it's a really good book that can really help you live an amazing life. And the first point I want to make from it is that no matter what has ever happened to you, you are worthy of love. No matter what has happened to you, you are worthy of love. In fact, I believe that the essence of everyone is love. So that means that if love is your essence, which happens when you connect with your heart, you connect with your higher self, when you're connected, you can really feel your essence. So everybody has access to connecting with their essence, with love. But things happen in our lives that make us feel unworthy. We create stories. Like a common one that I see when I work with grown-up men, they start crying, is maybe you're a baby, you're lying in your crib and you cry and cry and cry and cry for your mom or your dad and nobody comes. And then you try again, you try, and nobody comes. Now you start creating stories about yourself. What's wrong with me? If I was worthy of love, someone would be coming. And what's worse is that because it hurts when you ask for it and nobody comes, guess what you do? You stop asking for what you would love to have. And that decreases your level of happiness. It's impossible that things don't happen. Your mom can love you, your dad can love you to bits, but they didn't hear you, or you were at the nursery and nobody is around to bring you to mom because you were on a feeding schedule, no matter what happened. Then mom has the audacity to have another baby. Now you really start to create stories that what's wrong with me? Mom has no time for me anymore, but she has time for the baby or dad or whoever is taking care of you. And then we go to school, and then our best friend is our best friend one day, but then the next day a kid has a better toy, and now they don't want to play with you. So now all of a sudden you feel something is wrong with you, and you start decreasing your sense of self. You start creating a smaller world. But guess what? No matter what was happening in the outside world, it didn't change who you were, because is a baby worthy of love? Is a toddler in the throes of the terrible twos worthy of love? Is a teenager worthy of love? Is a 20, 30, 40, 80 years old? At what point did you stop being worthy of love? And most people say, oh, never. Well, if that was true, you would feel good about yourself. The truth is, you stopped being worthy of love when you decided that you were unworthy of love, because the world was not reacting to you the way you wanted it to react. So, from working with thousands of people, something I have seen that really helps my clients is, the way I see it is that there are two possible stages to human development. The first one is the unconscious, asleep, infantile stage, and the second one is the conscious, mature, awakened stage. And both of them are possible. Most people make it through stage one, but never make it to stage two. I call stage one heaven on earth, the boot camp, and I call stage two heaven on earth. So some people, metaphorically speaking, went to a music boot camp. Very easy, not many challenges, didn't create many stories, but the drawback to that is that they didn't build, inner strength and courage to face life's challenges, and now they have more challenges in life. And some people went to an athletic boot camp, and that one was pretty challenging, but they were able to, through the challenge and the support that they received, to build confidence, and that made them stronger and more capable. They have still stories, but it's been easier to handle. Then the toughest one is what I call the Navy SEAL kind of boot camp. And if you read about the Navy SEAL boot camp, it's pretty challenging. They go through what's called Hell Week, where they don't sleep for a whole week and they go through super challenging situations. But if you graduate from a Navy SEAL boot camp, you're a superhero. So some of us were born into situations that were really challenging. But just like a boot camp has nothing to do with your worth, no matter if it was little or more or extremely challenging, none of this had to do with something being wrong with you. It was the place that you were incarnated to, that you were born into, that was going to support and challenge you in the best way possible so you can unfold your ultimate potential. That is, if you decide to look at everything that's happened to you as a blessing, as a guiding mechanism to drive you in stage 1. And then if you're lucky, you graduate to stage 2, where you start creating heaven on earth. And usually people get booted into stage 2 because something super challenging happens to them. And then they start questioning their life and how they've been living their life. Either they lost their job or their spouse or their money or their health. Something happens that makes them say, you know, the way I've been living my life is not working. I need to find a new way. Or you got inspired. You picked up a book and you read it, or someone told you about it, you took a seminar, and now you fully engage in stage 2, where you're consciously creating your life from an amazing place. So the difference between stage 1, which the boot camp held on earth, is you get your sense of self from the outside world, and stage 2, heaven on earth, you get your sense of self from connecting in your heart with love, wisdom, and gratitude and inspiration. So I'd like to give you a little exercise to think about. It's like, write 2 or 3 events that happened to you that have decreased your self-worth, that made you feel something was wrong with you. And then write, what would you tell your own child or a loved one if they were going through the same thing? What would you tell them? And 3, can you go and write about how you were worthy of love, like none of this had anything to do with something being wrong with you, and see how it guided you. So if you do this, it's going to get you on the path to living a more amazing life. Also, I want to do a special little clip where I want to answer a question. So if you could sit for coffee with me and you had, or tea, or hot chocolate, and you had any questions you wanted to ask me, what would be some of these questions you would ask me? And I promise I'm going to read all the questions. I might not answer all of them, but if you take the time to send me questions, I'll make sure that I read them. Thanks. I'll see you soon.